to start today's class laying down on our backs. So make your way down onto your backside. And if it's comfortable for you, bend your knees, place the soles of your feet on the floor. Your feet can be as wide as you like. And experiment with letting your knees fall in toward one another and just resting against each other. And just let the backs of your shoulders descend a little more into the mat. Gaze looking upward. And when you feel settled, let your eyes close. Place your hands onto your lower belly. And start to breathe nice and deep. Feel your belly press up into your palms. As you let your breath go, belly button comes back down towards the earth. All of your awareness slowly shifting away, whatever it is you were doing before you sat down on your mat. Maybe whatever was preoccupying you before you sat down on your mat. Shifting to your breath. If it drifts away from the breath, concentrate in on your hands, feeling the breath moving in and out. And just a few more quiet, slow breaths at whatever pace you have settled into. And as your next breath releases, bring your hands down, stretching your arms out on the floor at your sides, walking your feet so they're about the width of your hips, and just nice solid press of the sole of the foot into the floor. We're going to start with some bridge lifts to just start warming the body up. So press into those feet, lift your pelvis up, start to press those hips upward. And then let the hips come back down. Nice, simple, slow starting bridges. And think about pressing through the whole part of the foot, so you're not leaning too much into the heel or the ball, or the toes aren't gripping. Since we've done a few here now, maybe a little bit more pressing into the backs of the arms and the shoulders to lift a little higher. And the next time that you lift up into bridge, hold it here. Press just a little bit more through your shoulders. Let your sternum lift up in this back bend. Try to relax your jaw. Don't let it hold you up. Or at least try to hold you up. Let the hips come down. Walk your feet a little bit wider than your hips and bring your arms out in a T position. Rock those knees side to side a couple of times. And after we windshield wiper our knees, we're going to do a little bit of active twisting with our upper body. So when the knees next come over to the right, settle them there. Make any adjustments you need. And then we're going to take our right hand, reach it over and grab a hold of your left thigh. Hip point, thigh, just somewhere along the edge of your top leg here. And then our left hand, bring it up And place it on the back of your head, so your head's just resting down on it. Now take your elbow, left elbow, press it down into the ground, into the mat. Take a breath here. Maybe let your hip flexor release a little bit more. And then with your next exhale, keep holding on to everything, but lift your left elbow up off the mat and start to twist yourself over to the right. Twist as far as you can. Can't twist anymore, that's where you pause. And then untwist. Now once again, lifting up, coming all the way as far over as you can. And then all the way back. Couple more here. Might start to feel your core start to light up or turn on those muscles. I would like to go a little bit deeper in my twist. I can't because my glasses get in the way. Good. And last one to the side. And all the way back. Stretch out left arm, stretch out your right arm. Draw your knees back to center, side to side. And we'll take those knees over to the left now. Get those knees somewhere they can settle for just a little bit here. And then that left hand is going to reach for your right, either hip point or thigh, wherever it can land. And take your right hand, bring it back behind your head. Press your right elbow downward, get a little extra stretch there in the back of the shoulder. Might feel good, hopefully. And then we'll come back to that twist. So take a breath in, we'll twist on our exhale here. So as we exhale, lift the right elbow up, twist it over to the left, and then open it back up, fill yourself back up with breath. Exhale and twist. Inhale, fill. And we want to keep these breaths slow. We want to keep our movement slow so we get into all the little nooks, all the crannies. I don't even know what a cranny is. Very interesting expression. And let's take one more time into that twist. And then all the way back. Stretch out your right hand. Stretch out your left hand. And bring both knees to center. Still on our backs. We're going to do another variation of bridge. Change it up a little bit. So take your feet, instead of just having them, right under your knees, walk them forward about maybe a foot or so. The farther out you go, the harder this move is going to be. So keep that in mind. And bring your arms down by your sides. Press into the hands. Press into the backs of the arms. Lift the hips up. And then lower those hips down. Let's breathe in as we lift up. See how that feels. And then release your breath as you bring the hips down. Now if you're anything like me, the glutes and the hamstrings are starting to already feel this. I've been working with this move quite a bit lately. And it can be a tough one depending on how many you do. Try to let those hip points come up at the same pace, same level. Your strong leg is going to try to take over here. Try to be aware of what that strong leg, stronger glute is going to do. And next time you lift up, hold it here. Don't let that one hip point come up higher than the other. Try to keep them level. Might start to feel a little cramping. You can always back out of it if you need to. Deep breath into the chest. Let the breath go. Let the hips go. Let the breath go if you were holding your breath like I might have been right there. And walk your legs a little bit closer to the point where your feet touch. Let the knees open up into this stretched out version of bound angle or Supta Baddha Konasana. And bring those knees toward one another, over to one side. Roll all the way onto one side. Bring yourself back upward. We'll be seated for just a few moments, so if you like that, prop under your hips, a block or a blanket. And just find a nice, easy, seated position for yourself, lengthening up through the spine. Let your eyes close again, or soften your gaze. Lift your sternum up a little higher and press your shoulder blades toward one another. A few more of those nice filling breaths. Dirga Pranayam, breathing into the belly. And that in-breath reaching to the very top of the chest. And exhaling, bringing the belly button back toward the spine. Next few breaths, if you'd like, you can bring in some ujjayi. A little soft whisper through the nose as you do your dirga. And just let that soft whisper start to bring a little bit more energy and fire into your body. As your next inhale, bring your arms forward and all the way up. As you exhale, bring your arms down by your sides, all the way out and down. Inhale to bring the arms forward and up. Exhale to bring them out and down. You can even put that ujjayi back in to this movement. Match it to the movement. And let's reverse our direction. So let's bring the arms out and up, and then forward and down. Do a few rounds of that. Big, deep breaths with or without that whisper through the nose. Let's do one more here. I could just do this all day. Gosh, this feels so great on my tense shoulders. Bring your hands back down to your side. And we're going to come up to tabletop. Toss that blanket or prop aside. Settle your knees onto your mat. Put that blanket underneath if you're on a hard surface. That might feel really nice. And we'll just start out here. Spreading fingers nice and wide on your mat. Shoulders over wrists. Make some small circles here, circling your shoulders around the wrists. And keep those hands nice and strong. Pressing into your mat, not gripping, not pressing too hard or putting too much pressure. Pay attention to how your weight shifts on your hand, like what parts of your hand start to absorb the weight as you move around. And let's go the other direction. We want to try to keep that weight as even as possible. It's not going to happen if you're moving around. Just be conscious of any part of your hand that's trying to lift up off the mat and just gently invite it back downward. Good. Let's bring ourselves back to center here. And we will start out by extending the right leg and reaching the left arm forward. Nice, good old balancing table here. Toes pointed down, hand reaching forward. Now, as you next exhale, round your spine, bring your knee and your elbow toward one another. And then inhale, reach yourself long again. Exhale, like into cat pose, knee and elbow. Stretch it back out. Try to keep that balance as much as you can, nice and smooth. And the next time that you are extended, hold it there. Keep your arm and your leg long. Drop the toes down to the floor. Drop the tips of the finger down. And then lift it back up. Keeping those limbs long, drop them down. Lift them back up. Each time you lift up, can you go just an inch, fraction of an inch higher? If this starts getting really hard, that's when that ujjayi breath starts coming in. That fiery, soft, smooth breath. Last time here, hold it up. And drop the hand down, knee down. We will revisit that in a few moments, but before that, let's go ahead and come down onto your belly. So lowering down to belly, we're going to keep our forearms on the floor and come into Sphinx pose. Elbows under the shoulders, hands reaching forward, all pressing down into the mat. Now, if your body just kind of wants to sag into this, spread your shoulder blades wide. You're going to feel everything lift, especially the ribs. Good. Lift your chin toward parallel with the floor, so you're looking forward, and stretch your legs back behind you. So this is a nice big back bend for in our Sphinx pose. We'll get some core work moving here. So what we're going to do next is press a little more firmly into the forearms and the hands and start to round that spine up. You'll feel your belly start to lift up off the mat. You can always stay with that, or you can choose to lift that whole pelvis up off the mat, come into a kneeling plank. Now lower your pelvis down, let the belly come down, look forward again. And then round and lift all the way to the knees. And then all the way down. Make sure you look forward as you're all the way down in that Sphinx. And keep this going. And this next time, hold it up. If this is not enough for you, tuck your toes under, lift the knees up in a full forearm plank. Knee down is better. That's where I'm going to hang out today. Stay right there. Keep pressing the floor away with the elbows, the hands, the forearms. Lifting the belly and the ribs away from the mat. One last breath. And then let it come back down. And just for this moment here, let your chin pull in towards your throat and just let your head hang. You can even kind of relax whatever your shoulders are doing. Let them do whatever they want to do. Just as a little counter stretch or release. Prop yourself back up into table pose. So back with your hands under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. And this time we're going to stretch out. Left leg long, right arm long. And then with our exhale, elbow and knee coming together under your belly. Stretch them out long as you breathe in. As the elbow and knee come together, see if you can squeeze your heel up a little bit closer to your bottom. Makes it a little more balance challenging, a little more strength challenging as well. And when your arm and leg are extended next, hold it here. Long limbs, drop the toes down to the floor, drop the fingertips down to the floor. Even yourself out, try not to lean one side or the other more. And then as we inhale, keeping those limbs long, lift everything back up. And then let it come down. Lifting and lowering, a couple more times. When the next comes up, hold. Hold it here. And bring your hand down. Bring your knee down. Walk your hands back towards your knees. And stand up on those shins. So we're going to come into a kneeling lunge. Start with the left foot forward. And if you like, you can tuck the back toes under. That might be helpful for your balance. Walk that front foot just a little bit further forward than you might usually. A little bit further forward than a right angle, let's say. Okay. Inhale and send the arms all the way up. And press those upper arms back a little more, but pull your lower rib cage in, so we're not thrusting the rib cage out. And drop your arms back down to your sides, and bring your hands all the way down onto the floor. This is sometimes where a block comes in handy, and you don't need to use a block if you don't have one, or if you just don't want to. You don't have to. We're going to bring this front leg towards straight. Your whole hips are going to shift back. This is why I like a block, just because I have short arms. In yoga, we a lot of the time jokingly call them T-Rex arms. That's what I feel like I have. And then once the leg is long, just come up right onto the heel. Good. Make any adjustments you need. If you're in the wrong spot, you might need to have the front foot forward a little bit. And we're going to keep our shape exactly as it is and bring a little bit more strengthening into this stretch. Strengthening and stretching at the same time. Who'd have thought, right? So what we'll do is press your heel down into your mat. At the same time, back knee, imagine that you're pressing it forward. So it's not going anywhere, so it's all isometric. And then release that effort for just a second. And then one more time, press your heel and your knee as if you're trying to close scissors here. And let's hold this one a little bit extra here. Good. And let that effort go. Let the foot come back down to the floor and bend that front knee. And then just sink it forward into a your bent knee, knee down lunge. Make sure that your shoulders are away from your ears. And just kind of softly looking forward here, not craning your neck too much. Good. We'll bring our knee back underneath us. And just come up back onto your shins if that's an easier way to set this up. And then we'll step other leg forward. Right leg comes forward. We'll repeat what we did on that first side. So if you like that block, go ahead and find it. As you inhale, bring our arms forward, reach them up. And then breathe it out. Bring the arms down. We're going to start to straighten our front leg. You can lower down onto your block or hands to the floor, whichever you prefer. And when you're in place, pop that sole of the foot up off the mat. Heel pressing down. For now, we're just stretching. Don't We're not doing the downward press quite yet. And now we'll go ahead and do that isometric movement that we did on the first side. Front heel presses into the mat. Back knee presses towards the front of the mat. Start that motion. Keep that spine lengthened even as you are doing this. A lot going on in your body. Let that effort go. Let that stretch just happen in your leg. And then one more time. Heel downward, knee forward. Imagine that you're like trying to make a big wrinkle in the middle of your mat. You're trying to slide your mat to make that big bulge in the middle. And then release that effort. Walk it forward. Bring your shoulder blades toward one another. Maybe lift your sternum a little bit. Awesome. If you are using a block, just set it aside. And for this exit, we're going to tuck our back toes under, lift the back knee. We're coming towards a forward fold. So any way you need to do that, just step it forward, or you can just kind of make your way to forward fold. So when you made it there, just press evenly through your feet. Press your toes into your mat. And then a nice bend into the knees. Bring one hand to one hip, other hand to other hip. Come on up with a flat back. Straighten your legs out and stand up tall in your mountain. Walk your feet out about hip width apart if they were not there already, and find that micro bend in the knees. Bring your shoulders back. You will just naturally feel your sternum lift upward. And bring the back of your head just an inch further back. Mountain pose Tadasana. When you feel your feet fully connected with your mat and everything rising up above it, we're going to start with a few sun salutations, just the basic sun salutations, just to get the energy moving. We'll start slow and we'll build up to go a little bit faster here. So bring your arms up overhead. And as you exhale, come down into forward fold, either a higher up forward fold, if you're keeping your head above your heart, or a lower. Now straighten your elbows and lift halfway. Hands on shins or thighs. And then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, press into your heels. Rise up with a flat back. Sweep the arms all the way up. And then down into mountain. If you know your sun salutation, you just go at your own pace. Or you just keep following along with me, whichever you prefer. Inhale, upward salute. Exhale, forward fold, your version. Inhale, lift halfway. And exhale, fold. Inhale, remember pressing those heels. Rise up with your flat back. Sweep those arms all the way up. And let the arms come down to your sides. Good. Got a little bit of a strength and balance flow coming at you next. Get a little bit of everything into this class, right? So reconnect with those Tadasana feet, mountain feet. We want to start off strong since we're going to challenge our balance here. All right? Hands come onto your hips. And we will start out with our left foot stepping back into a big high lunge here. So our warrior one high lunge. Further back you go, the more work this is. Be aware of that. You are in control. Hips square towards the front of your mat and that back leg nice and straight. Inhale, bring the arms up. Good. As you exhale, bring your hands down to your hips. This is where our balance part's going to come in. We're going to step that back leg forward and go immediately into tree. So get yourself ready for that. Shift a little more weight into the front leg. And how smooth can you do this? Lift that back foot up and come right into your tree. Either your toes down on the mat, foot on the ankle, or all the way on the calf, land. And then challenge yourself. Maybe without putting your foot down, if that's possible. Lift the left foot off of the right leg. Step it back into your high lunge warrior one. Sweep the arms all the way up. Sink down a little lower. Straighten out that back leg a little bit more. Drop your arms into cactus or goal pose, pressing your elbows back. And from here, we're going to step straight forward into mountain, Tadasana. Keep those cactus arms. Tuck your low ribs in. You stay where you are. I'm just turning to face you here. Lift your sternum up a little higher. Press your shoulder blades toward one another. A little bit of a back bend in that upper area of your back. Good. And then bring your back bend back to straight. Reach your arms all the way up. And exhale to bring your arms down to your sides. Awesome. I'm going to step back towards the front of my mat here. Mountain stance. Sweep your arms all the way out and up as you inhale back to sun salutation. Exhale, dive to forward fold. Inhale, lift it halfway. Nice flat back here. And exhale, round and fold. Inhale, press into those heels. Sweep it all the way up. And then release your arms back down to your sides. Hands on your hips as we step the right foot back. Come into warrior one. You know where we're going on this side, so maybe you want to turn up that volume a little bit. Maybe you want to turn it down. Press your heel downward. Remember to keep that back leg pressing towards straight and keeping your posture in your upper body. Draw your arms forward and up. A little bit of settling here for this last breath. Good. And draw your arms all the way down. You can bring them on your hips if that's helpful. Decide which kind of tree you want to step up into. Ankle or calf. Shift your weight forward and go for it. Land in that tree. Try not to tap down. You always can if you need to. The effort is just how you're going to build strength and stability. Just by making the effort. If you never make the effort, you're never going to build that, right? All right, we're going to go for it one last time here. Taking right foot, peeling it off the left leg, and stepping it back. How softly can you land it back there? How much control? Sink back down into the front leg. Center that upper body over the center of your legs. And we'll just inhale, draw the arms up. Lower them down back into cactus. We're going to do one more of those little back bends after we step ourselves forward to mountain pose. First, press those elbows back, trying to line up, arms, shoulders with our sides. And then lift your sternum up. Imagine your rib cage, your whole rib cage is separating from your body and just pressing upward. Try to keep that pelvis right over the heels. And then back to that flat back and lower your arms all the way down. Whew. a bunch of tension just built up in your shoulders. Let's do a few more of those swimming arms that we did seated earlier. Just inhale, send the arms forward and up. Exhale, send them out and down. Let's do one more in this direction and then we'll move the other direction. And then this time out and up. Forward and down, 2 more times. I am highly distracted because I have a mirror on the wall right next to me. This is why I never liked practicing in studios with mirrors. They're quite distracting to me when I just want to feel these poses. That's what I always say, try to go into your head, feel what it feels like. Don't worry so much about what it looks like as long as there's no pain, nothing crazy going on. We're going to start to make our way down to the floor, do a few little floor work things. So let's just do one more big sweep of the arms upward. And let that breath go as you bring it all the way forward. And let yourself just kind of melt in to your forward fold here. Lengthen the back of your neck so the top of your head is pressing downward. Let gravity do this work as much as you can. And then we're just going to bend the knees enough so that our hands can come down for stability. Step one leg back. And the other. Come all the way to seated. So we're going to do a interesting flow that I borrowed from a teacher I've been taking classes with online. We're going to start with our legs extended in front of us. And then bend your left knee and bring the left foot on the floor. Just let that bent knee press upward towards the ceiling. Nice tall spine. We're going to start by twisting toward that bent knee. Taking your right arm across, grab onto the knee, maybe with the elbow or the hand, whichever's more comfortable, and twist toward it. Good. Take your left hand, reach it back behind you, all the way to the floor is good. And then as we unwind this twist, we're going to take the right arm, bring the forearm all the way down to the floor, and it can be a little bit further forward so it's not right under your shoulder, more or less. And roll all the way onto your right hip, stack your legs. Now you want to get lengthened. Think of that top hip lifting up. Good. Now, left knee, we're going to bend the knee, foot back on the floor, come back up, and twist once again. Unwind your twist. Set your right forearm down on the floor, extend that bent leg. This time, if you like, come all the way up into a side plank. Don't have to come up to a side plank. You're still working even if you don't. Set the bottom down. Come on back up. Left foot to the floor. And come into your twist. And let's just keep that moving a few times. Unwind and all the way down. Don't forget to stretch that bent leg out. And stack. Lift up into your plank. Let's do one more time each. Left foot to the floor. Twist, reach. And then unwind. Arm down, leg out, lift up. Set it down, back to center, readjust, and we'll come into that on the other side now, all right? So the left leg now is going to stay long, the right knee is going to stay bent. Settle into your sits bones here. And then take that left arm, start to reach for the right leg as you twist over to the right. Reach that arm back behind you. Unwind your twist. Set your left forearm down, roll onto your side, stack those legs. You're just lifting up, you're finding length all right here, right here. Whether you're going to lift up your whole body or not. And then back to your bottom, bend right knee. Come into that twist, reach that back arm. You're going to feel yourself start to loosen up. Just be mindful of that. Unwind the upper, back down to your side, forearm down, legs stacked. This time if you want, pop all the way up onto that plank. Lower it back down. Right foot back to the floor, hug that knee, stretch the arm. And come back to side plank or just side lift. And we've got one more time. Back in your twist. And one last time in your plank. I'm not even going to be evil and make you hold it. I'm not. We'll just lift. It's hard enough, right? You don't need to make it any harder. Lower it back down. Whew. And make your way onto your back. I know I just came onto my belly. You guys make your way onto your back as I move all this stuff. I've got one more thing for you to do here before we get to do all the best part, which will be relaxation, right? Let's do one more thing here to strengthen our glutes and our hamstrings. So bring your feet onto the floor, hip width apart. We're just coming into that standard bridge setup. Backs of the arms pressing into your mat. Press into your feet, lift the hips up. Now let's just lift and lower a couple of times. Let's get our bodies back. Remembering the shape that we started with. I'm going to end with a 2. So take your right finger and place it on your right hip point. Right? So feel that little bony protrusion on the front of your hip. As you press up into bridge, keep your hips level. And then once we are up, about as far up as you want to hold it, we're going to stay here, and we're just going to pulse that right hip point up a little bit higher, so we're purposefully unleveling our hips. Okay? Keep pressing into that finger and then releasing it, just a very small, subtle movement. And then back to level, bring them up a little higher. Let the hips come down and switch fingers. Left finger on the left hip point. Right arm is just going to be your support arm. Lift those hips up, start it at level. If you're challenging yourself, maybe they come up nice and high. And when you feel your balance, then lift that left hip point a little bit higher. Gentle pulsing. And you might not really be aware of it, but when you do bridge pose usually, it is very common that you're already lifting one hip point higher, whichever your strong leg is. Just a couple more times. This is a great way to give yourself a little feedback on that. And then that next time, level out those hips. Last press upward. Bring your bottom back down to the floor. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And let that breath go with a sigh. Bring the knees into the chest. Hug them in. Bring the knees away from one another, wide as you can. Take your arms, reach down to the inside lines of the legs, and you want to grab a hold of either your shins or your ankles, or maybe all the way to the outside edges of your feet. We're going to come into happy baby. So once you have grabbed on to your legs, I'm going to put my hands on my shins. Just start to press your feet up towards the ceiling. Now you don't want to press them so far that your legs straighten out. You want to keep your legs bent, knees bent. But you want to have that tension of stretching them up towards the sky, but your knees are still staying bent, not letting them extend. And for the last few breaths, I'm going to walk my hands up to the outsides of the feet. Press your knees into your elbows if you can. Maybe a little swaying side to side. Don't get too crazy because you will find you totally tip over if you do that. And then when this happy baby feels complete, let go of your legs gently and come down to your mat. Maybe stretching your legs out long if that sounds like a comfortable position to be in, or finding an alternate position that would work for you today. Soften your eyelids, perhaps letting them close all the way. And soften your breath. Inviting your breath to slow. Inviting the thoughts in your mind to slow. Reminding your thoughts and your breath to just keep revisiting this relaxed state. If things start to wander, if the mind starts to light up again, if your breath isn't ready to slow, just keep working on that process. Shifting your awareness deeper and deeper inside. Allowing everything that is around you to be there. But with your awareness shifted inside, not letting it be a distraction. Find a deepened breath. Find a more mindful breath. Allow your torso to move with your breath. After you've taken a few of these big, full, deep movement breaths, then start to bring some movement into your limbs, wiggling your fingers and your toes. Letting that grow into whatever comes next. When you are ready, make your way onto one side. Take a pause here. One more deeply filling breath. Giving yourself a little bit of thanks and appreciation for the movement you have practiced today. Shifting your way back up to your seated position. And as you inhale, bring the arms out and up. Press your palms together and lower them down to your heart as you exhale. Bow your head to the light that you are carrying within you. I thank you for joining me for this practice. I hope wherever you are, you have wellness in your life. I hope you have victory. I hope you have peace until I see you next. Namaste.